के रूप में डॉक्टर नागराज पातुरी जी को आमंत्रित करता हूं। इस पूरी संगोष्ठी के नियामक करता हैं आप ही के निर्देशन में इसकी पूरी डिजाइनिंग हुई है और आज हमारे बीच उपस्थित हैं आप। कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ द कॉन्फ्रेंस, डॉक्टर नागराज पातुरी।
आंगिकं भुवनं यस्य वाचिकं सर्ववाङ्मयम् आहार्यं चन्द्रतारादि तं वन्दे सात्विकं शिवम्। On behalf of Indica today, earlier it used to be called Indica Academy, now it is Indica, and Bharat Adhyayan Kendra. I welcome all the guests on the dais and on the other side of the dais to this 19th conference of Indica Academy. Sri Harikiran Vadlamani Garu, the founder of Indica Academy, is incessantly creative and highly imaginative, visionary behind all the activities of Indica Academy. He calls himself just an entrepreneur, not a scholar, but whoever looks at the wide range of activities and the ideas behind would never accept that he just remains an entrepreneur. He is such an intellectual and scholar, always emerging with new ideas of conferences. I am so glad and excited, also I can say Dhanyosmi, for being here in Kashi Nagari, Moksha Nagari. And second time it is that I am fulfilling my dream of being at the Tapobhumi of my childhood hero Madan Mohan Malaviya ji, and I am getting the opportunity to garland him, pray to him, and do upasana of him. And so lucky we are that we have such great celebrities of medical field, Rector V.K. Shukla ji, and my own personal career field. By career, I am a folk culturist and cultural anthropologist. Malini Avasthi ji is from my own field, so and a celebrity in that field. She is a Padma Shri in that. So I am so glad that I am here, and I am glad to share the dais with Professor Sadashiv Kumar Dwivedi ji, who is also one of my heroes, along with his father Reva Prasad Dwivedi ji. When there were claims that Sanskrit lost all its creativity during modern period, the first name that we were proudly able to announce to the world is Professor Reva Prasad Dwivedi ji. Modernity of Sanskrit was kept alive by his flow of writings. And Professor Sadashiv Kumar Dwivedi is standing exactly up to the expectation with all his new directions. I say new because last time when we were doing this Yatra conference here, Professor Reva Prasad ji was sitting there. When Professor Sadashiv Kumar ji was taking a different route, he was saying, no, this is not the one. That is how it should be. It should not be just exactly the same path of the father. So we are so lucky to be getting the collaboration for the second time again for the conference of Indica Academy. We have conducted our conference on Vedic mindfulness in collaboration with IGNCA at Delhi. This was also a challenge that we threw to the world, because mindfulness was publicized as a Buddhist activity all over the world, but we reclaimed the Vedic origins of mindfulness through that conference. And then the Yatra conference that we conducted here at the same venue. Again, that was another path-breaking activity that we did. All the Yatra-related literatures, Thala Puranas, Thala Mahatmyas, inside the Puranas, and all the travelogues and other tourism-related, Yatra-related inspirations were covered under that. And there was a conference on philosophy and praxis of yoga, and indigenous environmentalism was another topic. My personal favorite, because in my opinion, people say that all our time-to-time changeable smritis have to be in accordance with Shruti. If at all there is a central spirit of Shruti in India, it is environmentalism, is my personal opinion. So all the smritis have to change according to the ecological centered Vedic perspective. So that is the reason we took up this environmentalism topic twice. First as indigenous environmentalism, later as Hindu environmentalism again. And there was Hatha Yoga conference, Unraveling Texts and Traditions, Hatha Yoga, Unraveling Texts and Traditions. And there was Hinduism and Modern Psychology, Polytheisms Today and Tomorrow is another one. This is another wonderful activity that we have taken up. Hinduism has to join all other polytheistic and those which are branded as pagan cultures. We have to join the other forces in the world which have been attacked by anti-pagan forces, by Christianity and other Abrahamic religions. Hindu meditation traditions and techniques was another topic. And we have conducted oneness conference, taking inspiration from Shankaracharya and other forms of Advaita. There was a conference in collaboration with IGNCA, Hindu traditions on non-binary gender aspects, on sex, gender and sexuality. There was a conference on rituals, another one on Puranas and Indic knowledge systems. There was a conference on Hindu aesthetics. There was one on Western Buddhism. Western Buddhism itself, those who know understand the power of this world. Okay, Buddhism is Buddhism, but if you say Western Buddhism, you are doing something to the activity by the Westerns, right? So we wanted to do that, deliberately worded it as Western Buddhism, and we conducted a conference on that. Hindu arts, architecture and artisan traditions, indigenous storytelling traditions. Recently, the most recent one was at Gauhati near Kamakhya temple, feminine in Hinduism. There was a lot of debate whether we have to go for Hindu feminism, Vedic feminism, that, this. Finally, we decided that actually what feminism does is it contradicts femininity itself as a naturality. So we thought, okay, let us call it feminine in Hinduism, because you want to contradict feminine and you want to masculinize the whole world. So we want to feminize the world, reclaim the femininity of Hinduism. So we called it feminine in Hinduism. That was the most recent one. And today we are here because of our focus on conference on Shaivism. Harikiran ji gets his ideas from where only Uparwala knows, one after the other, so creative. This time, the main inspiration for this idea, I request Manish Maheshwari ji to stand up. Harikiran ji met him. He is a young, dynamic, rigorous scholar of yoga traditions and Shaivism. Harikiran ji had lots of discussions with him, and he thought, why not, when I have such a young, dynamic scholar, have a conference on this topic. So this conference is his Manasa Putrika. Manish Maheshwari is a Kumara Bap of this this conference. He is a young unmarried bachelor scholar. But see, the whole concept note, if you have read it, it is all his wording, his draft. And you have to see the vastness of the coverage of the idea, the intricacy, the depth of the idea, everything comes from Manish Maheshwari ji. And he is so agonized by the Indological scholarship on both yoga and Shaivism and many other such topics, but he wants to be equally rigorous as those scholars. He always inspires us to be as rigorous as those scholars who are, in his opinion, taking a distorted opinion about our culture. But just it's not enough to be agonized by them. What is required is we have to do it with the equal rigor that they do, is Manish ji's standpoint. And if he has responded to your abstracts or conference papers in a certain tone that you might not have liked, it is all because of his insistence on rigor. He insists on that depth and rigor in academics. That is from where it comes. And another inspiration for Manish ji is our T.N. Ganeshan ji. So he is the inspiration behind the inspiration. T.N. Ganeshan ji is a dedicated Shaivism scholar. He is such a dedicated scholar that he is continuing to work after his retirement also on the same topic. As long as he was at French Institute of Pondicherry, he helped Indian scholars and scholars from abroad in working on mostly Shaivism, but I know a few scholars from United States who were working on Sri Vidya also, that were helped by Ganeshan ji. Sri Vidya Shaivism relationship, and just Sri Vidya also. And their institute is a rich repository, has a rich repository of manuscripts, and he is a very great manuscriptologist also, and dedicated Shaivism scholar. We are going to have his keynote address after this session. We are going to have a keynote address from T.N. Ganeshan ji for this conference. And while curating this conference, the main curator for this conference, probably he might want to use the word under my guidance, but I think I have taken his guidance. Manish ji has planned it in such a way that first we cover the geographical areas of India. So they have been sequenced in a geographical form. This area of Shaivism, that area of Shaivism, and so on. And then we went to the other aspects of Shaivism, like impact on art and culture, impact on archaeological questions, and other interpretations around Shaivism. Before I take leave of you, let me tell you that if we are here conducting a conference on Shaivism, it does not mean that Indic Academy is Shaivism biased. Please remember, we have at least in some from hagiographies and hagiographical shlokas, we have names of 6 at least traditions where paramya is given to one of the devatas. So when you say Shaiva, it is Shiva Paramya Parampara. When you say Vaishnava, it is Vishnu Paramya Parampara. Shiva Paramya Parampara is not opposed to Vishnu, or Vishnu Paramparya Parampara is not opposed to Shiva. What it does is, from the childhood I heard that Shiva is a Rama Bhakta, and Rama built Rameshwaram, the Shiva Kshetra. So that's how it is. And Shivaya Vishnu Rupaya, Shiva Rupaya, Vishnave. But we had once upon a time in this country a Saura tradition also, Surya Paramya tradition, and we had a Kumara Paramya tradition called Kaumara also, and we had Ganapatya, which was a Ganapati Paramya Sampradaya, and we are here in a Shakteya place apart from being a Shaiva place. This is a richly Shakteya place also, and we have Bengali traditions of Shakteya. We have there was a scholar who applied to Indic Academy for a Kerala Shakteya tradition. He wanted to connect his Kerala Shakteya research to Kashmira Shaivism, and we have Shakteya traditions as rich as Shaivism all over the country. So Indic Academy is open to conduct conferences on every one of these. If there are Ganapatyas, anyone? Any Ganapatya? If there is, if at least not if he is a Upasaka of Ganapatya tradition, but if there is a researcher in Ganapatya tradition, you raised your hand, ma'am? Okay. So on Ganapatya, on Kaumara, on Saura, if there are researchers on those traditions, we can have at least one small webinar on one of these traditions. And I was asking Manish ji, are you interested only in Shaivism or Vaishnavism also? He told me, if Vaishnavism, I'm ready. And so we are going to have conferences on the other paramparas also, Paramya paramparas also. So this conference is just one of the huge series of conferences that Indic Academy is having. But when we are in Shaivism, Shiva, Shiva, Shiva only. That is what Hindus do. जब वाराणसी में जाते हैं विश्वनाथ के मंदिर में, तो वहाँ तो गोविंद गोविंद तो नहीं बोलते ना, गोविंदा वेंकटेश्वरा ये तो नहीं बोलते. इधर जब आते हैं तो ओम नमः शिवाय, है ना, बोले. यही है 2 दिन के लिए. 2 दिन के लिए तो ओम नमः शिवाय ही चलेगा, है ना. बाद में जब वैष्णविज्म के बारे में जाएगा तब तो अलग बात है. नमस्कार.